You check your phone. No new messages. You open an app, scroll for a while, close it. Still nothing. That small ache in your chest has a name. You call it loneliness. But the real answer is far stranger. That ache is not a flaw in you. It is a signal, thousands of years old, still firing exactly as designed. Think about that for a second. Your body has alarms for danger. A racing heart when a car swerves close. Sweaty palms before a big decision. Loneliness works the same way. It is not sadness. It is not weakness. It is your nervous system sounding an alarm that once meant something very specific. Alone means unsafe. Alone means exposed. Alone, for most of human history, meant you might not survive the night. Go back 100,000 years. Your ancestors did not live in houses with locked doors. They lived in small bands, maybe 25 to 50 people moving across open land. A lone human had no walls, no weapons stronger than a sharpened stick, and no way to sleep safely without someone else keeping watch. A group meant eyes in every direction. A group meant warmth on a cold night. A group meant more hands to fight off a predator, and more mouths to warn you when one was near. Alone, you were prey. Together, you were something predators avoided. So evolution did what it always does. It built a warning system. When you drifted too far from the group, your body didn't wait for a wolf to appear. It made you feel bad first. It made isolation feel unbearable, on purpose, so you'd fix it before the danger arrived. That feeling in your chest right now, it's an inheritance, a very old, very effective one. The psychologist John Cacioppo spent decades studying this exact mechanism. Cacioppo argued that loneliness evolved as a biological cue, not unlike hunger or thirst. Hunger tells you your body needs fuel. Thirst tells you it needs water. Loneliness, in his framework, tells you your body needs other people. And just like hunger doesn't feel like a gentle suggestion, loneliness doesn't either. It can feel sharp, urgent, almost physical, because in evolutionary terms, it is physical. Isolation used to be a countdown. Here's where it gets stranger. Cacioppo's research found that chronic loneliness doesn't just affect mood, it changes the body at a measurable level. Blood pressure rises. Sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented, as if part of your brain is standing guard, waiting for a threat that isn't there anymore. Inflammation markers increase. Your immune system starts behaving as though it's preparing for an injury that might come from an attack. Why would loneliness trigger the body's defenses against physical wounds? Because for most of human history, being alone often preceded exactly that. This is the twist most people never think about. Your body cannot tell the difference between ancient danger and modern isolation. A missed text and a missing hunting party register in shockingly similar ways to your nervous system. That's not an exaggeration. That's biology running an old program on new hardware. There's an even darker chapter to this story. In the 1950s, psychologist Harry Harlow ran a series of experiments on infant rhesus monkeys, separating them from their mothers and other monkeys entirely. The monkeys raised in isolation didn't just seem sad. They displayed severe behavioral disturbances, rocking, self-harm, an inability to interact normally with others once they were finally reintroduced to a group. Harlow's work was controversial, and rightly so, but it revealed something undeniable. Isolation isn't a neutral state for social animals. It actively damages the systems built for connection. Left alone long enough, the wiring for belonging starts to fray. Now bring this into your own life. Not a monkey in a lab. You, in your apartment, scrolling. Every notification your phone doesn't deliver is, in some ancient corner of your brain, a small piece of evidence. The evidence says the group is drifting. The evidence says you are exposed. You know intellectually that missing a text is not the same as being left behind by a hunting party on a cold plain. But your nervous system was built before smartphones existed. It doesn't know the difference. It just knows the pattern. Distance from others. Danger. This explains something else too. Why does rejection hurt so much? Not metaphorically, actually hurt. Researchers using brain imaging have found that social rejection activates regions of the brain overlapping with those triggered by physical pain. Being excluded from a group chat and stubbing your toe are processed, in part, by shared neural circuitry. That sounds absurd until you remember the stakes your ancestors faced. Exclusion from the group wasn't an inconvenience, it was a death sentence delivered slowly. Pain was the appropriate response. Your brain still thinks it is. Here is where the story sharpens into something almost unbelievable. Psychologist Julian Holt-Lundstad led a massive analysis combining data from over 300,000 people, examining how social connection affects mortality. The result? Chronic loneliness was associated with an increase in early death risk comparable to smoking several cigarettes a day, comparable to obesity, comparable, in some estimates, to physical inactivity. Let that sit for a moment. Isolation, something we treat as a private inconvenience, sits in the same category of danger as habits we spend billions of dollars trying to prevent. Your ancestors' bodies were right to sound the alarm. The alarm was never wrong. It was just built for a world with wolves instead of Wi-Fi. So what do you do with an alarm system built for a world that no longer exists? You don't silence it. You listen to it. Loneliness isn't a personal failure whispering that something is wrong with you. It's a 500,000-year-old survival mechanism doing exactly its job, telling you to move toward people, the same way thirst tells you to move toward water. The urge to text someone back, the pull to sit with coworkers instead of eating at your desk, the relief you feel walking into a room full of familiar faces. None of that is soft or unnecessary. It's the oldest software in your body, still running, still trying to keep you alive the only way it knows how. Consider what this means for how modern life is built. Entire cities designed around private homes, private cars, private screens. Efficient, yes, but your body doesn't experience efficiency. It experiences distance from other people, and distance from other people has meant one thing for nearly the entirety of human history. Danger. Modern loneliness epidemics, the kind researchers have been documenting across industrialized nations for the past few decades, may not be a new psychological problem at all. They may be an old biological alarm going off in an environment that has quietly removed the very thing it evolved to demand. So the next time that ache shows up, in a quiet apartment, in a scroll through a silent phone, in a room where you feel unseen, try not to read it as evidence that something is broken in you. Read it the way your ancestors' bodies intended it, as information, as a nudge, ancient and insistent, pointing you back toward other people. Not because you're weak for feeling it, because you're human, and humans were never built to survive the wilderness alone. You check your phone again, still no new messages. But now you understand what that ache actually is. Not a flaw. A 500,000-year-old voice, still doing its oldest job, still trying to bring you home.